Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Cox, and today we will take a peek at TheHolyChicken's new class mod, the Apostate. The video will split into 3 different pieces: her skills, her trinkets, and gameplay. You can see the timestamps right there. So first her skills. Her first skill is Condemn. What it does is it pulls the enemy forward, deals minor damage, has quite a big crit mod, and debuffs the target. There are multiple ways you can properly use that ability. One is obviously to pull an enemy forward, second is to finish off an enemy, and third is to keep debuffing an enemy. Her second ability is Last Rites. What it does is it applies some stress relief on your team. Now, you might notice that you will receive less stress heal when your hero is not below 50% HP. So first thing you will think is, well, why would I want to stress heal if my team is at low HP? I want to heal them if they're at low HP. I don't really care about the stress relief at that point. Well, you might change your mind in a little bit. Just trust me on this one. Just please trust me on this one. For once, please. Now to her third ability, Apocryphal Text. That's a really interesting ability. What it does is, if your heroes aren't below 50% HP, it will deal 4 damage to them. Now, as of note, it does it individually, so it checks each hero and deals damage to them or not individually. And what do you get for, giving up some HP and getting your heroes to 50% HP threshold? Well, you get actually quite massive buffs to damage and crit. You'll also get some boost to death blow resist just in case, as you will be playing at 50% HP or less, so that your heroes don't die as much as, as they usually do. On top of that, the skill can be used only once per battle and it's a free action, meaning you can use it and use something else right after it. Also, before I forget to mention, these buffs last the whole battle. So yeah, that's quite damn good. Her fourth, and probably my favorite ability, Borrow Time. What it does is it gives any ally 1 block, including she can use that on herself. It also cures Blight, Bleed, and buffs the target for some dodge if they're at death door. Now the purpose of that ability is to act instead of the heal, as you will want to sit at 50% HP or less, you don't really want to heal. So that is here to save your heroes when they're at, at a shitty spot. It also works really well against some enemies like the Prophet when you know someone is about to receive massive damage. Her next skill is Tenebrosity. Now, this one does a lot of shit at once, I'll tell you that. So first of all, obviously it's damaging abilities that deals damage to the first 3 enemy positions. It also has a small chance to stun an enemy, which usually is visible when you're critting them, but most of the time it will not proc. It will also take off some of your torch, but as of note, it will also keep buffing its own damage, meaning that it's a really good ramping ability. So at some point, you might be dealing a shitload of damage to the enemies with that thing. Now, you need to be careful when using that ability. It will deal some damage to your team if they're not below 50% HP. Now, you might think that's a bad thing, but that's actually a good thing in a way. If you're going with Apocryphal Text build, then this will actually help you to get to that 50% HP threshold. It also applies some healing received debuff, but honestly, if you're already going with 50% or less HP build, it doesn't matter at all, as you probably won't use heals anyways if you're staying at 50% HP, Her sixth and probably the strongest ability is Insight. What it does is it gives someone an extra action. For those of you who don't know, extra action means that they will be able to attack or do something else one more time in this round. On top of that, it will give some accuracy and crit buffs if your target is below 50% HP. Now, a thing that you need to be careful of, it disables your target's healing skills, but mainly it also increases the damage they receive, which means that they will probably be getting hit for like 1,000 damage for hit. Well, not 1,000, but you get what I mean. It also has the same effect as Apocryphal Text, but only on a single target. Her last ability is Desecrate. Basically what it does is you use it on a corpse, it blows up the corpse, dealing blight and stun to the whole enemy team. It also decreases torch a bit, so be careful of that. not her camping skills. She has only 4 unique camping skills, so she doesn't share the same skills that everyone else does. First one being Dialogue with the Dead. What it does is it prevents the nighttime ambush, it gives some scouting chance, it gives some chance monster gets surprised. Also, it costs only 2, so that's a really cheap nighttime ambush prevention, right? Yes, but it also comes at some disadvantages/advantages considering how you look at it. First of all, it reduces the torchlight by 25%, but it's basically nothing compared to the next effect. One of your companions has to take, well, basically all of their health as damage, but they will also get healed for 50% back. Basically what this does is put someone to death door and heals them back to 50% HP. But the most interesting use of that is getting someone to death door. Now, usually it's a bad thing, but there are ways you can use that as your own advantage. In a second you'll see how. Now her next camping skill is Necrotic Vigor. What it does is it gives some accuracy and crit buffs if your target is under mortality debuffs, which is where Dialogue with the Dead comes in. Now her next skill is just basically a defense skill. Your whole party gets plus 20% prot when they're below 50% HP. But also if someone in your party has mortality debuffs, they'll get additional 10% prot if they're below 50% HP. Also be careful to not use that when you have religious people in your team, as they will get some stress, actually quite a bit of stress. Her last camping skill, Unorthodox Ceremony. What it does, if your companions are not religious, they will just get straight up minus 50 stress, which is really goddamn good. But it also has some side effects when, your team is religious, or at least someone is. If they're religious, they have 50% chance to get stress relief, but also 50% chance to get some stress. Now, you have to keep in mind that something might happen and none of these will activate, or both of these will activate, so you'll end up getting minus 8 stress on your religious companion. But it also has a buff for your companions that have mortality debuffs, which is they get minus 20% stress until next camp, which is quite decent, but it's not the most important thing in the world. Now to her trinkets. She currently has only 7 of them, but the mod maker, TheHolyChicken, might add some new ones as the time goes along. For example, maybe a head trinket, maybe some sun or dials trinket. He might come up with something. He is a very creative guy. So let's not procrastinate that even further, and let's talk about her current trinkets. First being the common trinket, Mundane Scripture. What this does is it decreases her stress healing done, but decreases some of her accuracy. Now, is that good? Actually, yes. If you're already going with a stress heal build, you'll most likely not be using her attacks a lot. Her uncommon trinket is Oracle's Gift. It gives some scouting chance, it decreases the chance party gets surprised, but it also increases some stress. Is that good? Yep, it's really good. You'll actually probably be using that quite a lot, as it's very powerful for an uncommon trinket. Her rare trinket is Foul Bouquet. What it does is it basically increases the power of Desecrate. It has more blight skill chance, it has more blight amount when applied, and it has higher stun skill chance. Now, it will decrease Apostate's movement speed by 3. First you might think that's a bad thing, but that's actually to our advantage. The thing is that when Apostate gets her turn, she wants to use Desecrate on a corpse, but if she goes first, there is no corpse to speak of. So yeah, that decreasing speed means that your team will most likely go first. They will most likely kill someone and get a corpse on the board, which you will be able to clear out with Desecrate right after. Her next trinket, next set of trinkets, is Necromancer's Scrolls and Necromancer's Claws. Now, what they do is they will give you some minor buffs and some minor debuffs, like accuracy buff, dodge debuff, etc, etc. But that's not the important bit. The important bits are that she gets 25% damage if she's below 50% HP. Is that good? Yep. If you're going with a damage build, that's a very big difference. And on top of that, she has some effects when you kill someone. First of all, when she kills someone, she will give everyone in your team plus 1% max HP, which lasts the whole game, literally. You can keep doing that, you can go to camps, you can do whatever the hell you want, and this buff will stay on. So you can keep making that buff bigger and bigger until you're basically unkillable. Now, another effect each one of these has is when you kill someone, you will summon a walking corpse, which I'll keep it a little bit as a surprise, but it's basically a skeleton that, does things. And if you have both of these, he will get stronger. Now her Crimson Core trinket, Dagger of Libation. libation. Am I pronouncing this one right? I have no idea. Well, whatever. What it does is when you use a friendly skill, anyone who is affected by that friendly skill, they'll get plus 10% damage and plus 7 accuracy if they're under Crimson Curse. But also be aware that anytime you use a friendly skill, she will get bled unless she's already bleeding, meaning that she'll probably have a bleed of 1 for the entire battle. So yeah, be careful with that. Her last but not least trinket is her crystalline trinket, Fragment from the Wall. What it does is, at first glance, well, decreases your dodge by 10. You don't really want that as a support, right? Yeah, but you'll most likely use that skill if you're going with a damage build. What it does is, when you get hit, you reflect some of the damage back. Whoever hits you, he gets blighted a little bit, but most importantly, you will get buffed for 30% damage and 10% crit. That's really big, as you might know. So yeah, if you get hit multiple times, holy shit, you have a lot of damage. And now to her gameplay. Yay, the most important and the most fun part, obviously. She has multiple ways to play her, which is really damn good. First of them is being, just a support without using the whole 50% HP or less mechanic to your advantage or to your disadvantage. What you'll probably want to do for that is have Condemned on you at all times, because Condemned is just overall good skill. Last Rise for some stress healing, as even if your team is not below 50% HP, it still does quite a bit of stress healing. You probably also really want Borrow Time on you, as that's a really good skill by itself as well, as you'll be able to, block any hit, cure blight, cure bleed, and basically if someone gets to death's door, you can save their ass, literally. And on top of these skills, you can also take Insight for an extra turn, or you can take Desecrate to, blow up the corpses. It's always fun, it's always good, and don't even care about that it's kinda morally bad to destroy corpses, but who even cares? Like, come on now, we're already playing Darkest Dungeon, yay! Now, her next skill build will be based around Apocryphal Text, so basically around that 50% HP or less mechanic, so you can get advantage of that. Well, first thing I want to say about that mechanic is you usually want at least 2 apostates in your team if you're going with that build, as there isn't much characters to kind of support that build, and Apostate is one of the ones that can support each other really well. And on top of that suffer some HP damage is kind of slow, meaning that it will take you some battles to get your whole team to 50% HP or less, and having more than one apostate will make it better and faster. But on top of that, you might notice that these buffs actually stack, so you can have even 4 apostates, everyone using Apocryphal Text, and everyone will get that sweet damage buff. So if you have 4 champion or legend apostates, everyone will end up having plus 120% damage and plus 48% crit. On another note, you can make good use out of Insight. If you have 2 guys on the back with Insight, some really strong damage dealer up the front, what you do is you use Apocryphal Text on each one of your apostates and use Insight on your damage dealer. What that all mean is he'll have a lot of buffs, a lot of damage, crit, and accuracy buffs on him. Yes, he'll have some debuffs like, damage received debuff and whatnot, but he'll hit like a truck. Not only he will hit like a truck, he will hit like a truck 3 goddamn times. So yeah, that's a really good build up that works on, basically any occasion. But that all works only as long as you have your damage dealer alive, obviously, so Borrow Time will help you with that. And the last, and probably the most fun way to play her, is using skills like Tenebrosity. Now, to make that effective, you will also need to use Apocryphal Text. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you probably want multiple apostates, if not 4 of them, to use that properly, because you will have one apostate with a shitload of damage, a shitload of crit, Tenebrosity, which, keeps ramping itself, and other apostates giving it insight, meaning that you can already ramp that Tenebrosity in the same round. But you also need to be careful because apostates are quite flimsy. All they have is Borrowed Time as their saving, so you might want to give them some dodge trinkets and whatnot. But most importantly, you might really want the Necromancer Scrolls trinket. Why? Because as you will keep killing the enemies with your main damage dealing apostate, you will keep acquiring max HP. Now I need to know that max HP doesn't come into play immediately. It increases your HP pool, but it doesn't increase your current HP. So you will need to heal up quite a little bit before it comes into play. The one thing that I would look out for when using that build is that an Apostate keeps eating away at your torch, so you might want to bring some more torches. Or, go to something like an endless harvest and don't give a single shit about your torch, right? But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy Apostate as much as I did. Like, I've played the thing a lot. Like, you see that team build up right there? Yeah, these guys have been to a lot of dungeons. Well, anyways, good luck and have fun.